Hey everyone, this is Coach Yani Moya and I'm a transformational life and finance coach. Welcome to Quarter Life Bliss. This is a podcast dedicated to disrupting the quarter life crisis mindset, spreading bliss and happiness to all listeners. My mission is to inspire possibilities, taking away the fear of going through your 20s and to crisis proof your quarter life. At 25, I'm very happy to share that I'm living a life of purpose, successfully content and happy even as I evolve with the times. These lessons, tips, and insights I now share with all of you, in the hopes that you too will find your quarter life bliss, whatever your age and circumstances. Welcome back to the podcast. And for today, I have a very beautiful guest. Her name is Julienne Ipapo, or as you may know her from TikTok. Yen is a content creator from the said platform, making videos about wisdom, wellness, and stories about the journey of life in order to inspire people. She's also an entrepreneur outside content creation. And today ko lang siya na-meet, guys. Pero feeling ko BFF na kami because of this. Before we even started, 1 hour na
True.
kaming nagchichikahan and apparently magkapit-bahay po kami. So let's all welcome Yen Ipapo.
Hi everyone. Thank you, Yanni, for having me here. And I completely agree. Feeling ko sobrang close na natin.
Marami
1 hour
naming
na tayo nag-bonding.
Kaya nga, maraming tutorials po na naganap before this recording. But
Mm-mm.
I'm very happy that Yen actually said yes. My gosh, nung nag-start ako sa TikTok, si Yen po isa sa mga unang nakita ko sa FYP ko. I didn't know
Oh,
that time that
wow.
you're a Filipino.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm like, nagla-like lang ako. Nasa first few likes ka pa nung hindi ako masyado nagti-TikTok pa. Tapos sabi ko, galing nga, ganun. Parang, pwede pa lang, kasi I was researching how to do TikTok at that time. So, I was so
Mm-hmm.
amazed na parang, Filipino siya nung naging nung naging active
Oh,
ako on TikTok.
wow. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. I had no idea that. I mean, I feel like that's really interesting as well kasi may mga nagsasabi din sa akin nun na akala nila taga-US ako, ganon. I mean, I was before, pero I've been here for a while now. So yeah, everyone, I'm from the Philippines.
Yes, very Filipino and QC represent. Pareho po kaming,
Yes,
my gosh.
kapitbahay lang talaga kami.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, TikTok, for connecting me to my kapitbahays.
Isa pa si Ayin, no? Parang 5 minutes away lang tayo sa isa't isa.
Oo, 'di ba? Parang, oh my gosh, magkakapitbahay lang po yung mga TikTok people. Apparently, nandito lang po kami lahat sa QC. But I
Mm,
think I like the platform so much because it allows you to connect to people eh. And it
for
allows us
sure.
to give our voices on whatever message we have to the world.
Exactly. Yeah, it's really amazing as well. And before I actually started pursuing TikTok and actually, integrating TikTok the platform in my videos as a part of my purpose in life, I didn't know that we could do this, cuz the content that we do isn't the usual TikTok content. Um it I guess we really have that purpose to inspire both you and I and our other friends who are trying to do the same thing. And I think we're just so blessed to have realized this pretty early on. Because I mean, TikTok's still in pretty early right now. And we're so blessed to have this platform to share our voice. And I know you're amazing as well. You were talking about, the things that you've done even before TikTok. And I just really admire you as well. And thank you for having me again, part two.
Thank you, Yen. And yeah, that's true, no? Before TikTok, I didn't know like a lot of people can resonate to whatever we are all talking about. What you're saying is true eh. Before, I didn't join TikTok because for yung mga sayaw. Kung hindi sayaw, dub. Something, no?
Mm-mm.
In short, for entertainment. And now we're changing
Mm-hmm.
TikTok as part of, I'm sure, the educator circle. Um,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I just want to know, no, kasi your TikTok videos are full of wisdom. Sobrang wisdom. As in, parang,
Thank
ano
you.
bang, ilang taon ka na ba, girl, 'di ba? So, how did you become this wise
Mm.
at such a young age?
Thank you so much. I mean, I think we're all wise in different areas of life. We all have our own fields of expertise. But thank you. That's really flattering. I like to tell the people who listen to my podcast as well, little plug, my podcast is Journey with Julienne on
She's on
Spotify.
top
But
podcaster.
no, thank you. But what I like to tell people is that I am not necessarily here to be your guru, because I myself am navigating through this life with you, the listeners, and my viewers and followers, and we're just living and learning together. And I just feel so privileged that there are some people in this world who allow me to be a part of their journey in life as I share my personal learnings and what I learned from philosophers and mentors. And looking back at it now, actually, I think one of my friends also asked me this: how did I get into the content that I create? And some of the content that I post on TikTok is about Socrates, or about habits for success, or about how my mindset has shifted, or how my faith got stronger, and how depression played a part in my life, and how that helped me become who I am today. And I look back at myself a few years ago, and there were these moments in my life that really changed me as a person, and my point of view, and things that I think I mentioned this to you earlier, things that kind of almost tore me apart. There were things that happened to me that I could have allowed to tore my soul apart and to change my identity in a negative way. But it was really my faith in God and my belief in the bigger picture of life, and my belief that things happen to us for a reason, that pushed me on this journey to self-improvement. So I started nourishing my mind, body, and spirit. At first, I was focused on the body. So I was always working out. So I enrolled in the gym at this time, and I knew that it would have such good benefits for my mind as well, mental health benefits. So I would always be at the gym, and I didn't share my low points to the people I was with, to my friends. They just knew that I would always be at the gym, and I became that fitness enthusiast friend. I was that friend. I would always post, and I'd be like, going to classes, I'd be doing everything. I'd be doing yoga. Even though I'm not flexible, I'd just push myself to do it, to kind of release the stress and to get better at something. I did boxing. I was doing cardio. I was doing weights, all of these classes, dance classes. So I really tried to focus my energy on that. And while I was there, I also realized that even though I already had a profound faith in God as a child, that these things that happened to me, I have to strengthen my faith even more, because these things, the negative energy and the darkness wanted me to give up. It wanted me to give up. And I said, but I know my life has a purpose. And even though I don't know exactly what it is at this point in my life, wherein I'm so desperate and I'm so sad, I said, I'm gonna pray more. So I would, at this time, I would go to school actually earlier, and I would go to the chapel silently before classes. So I would arrive at school much earlier so that I could have time to pray. Or even if I wasn't at the chapel, even if I was just on the bench, I would just kind of like reflect and talk to God in the silence of my heart, and ask Him to strengthen me and help me get through the day. And so I just went through life day by day. And during my free time, I would go to the gym. I would read a lot about mindset, about people who could inspire me. I would listen to inspirational people who have, gone through such horrible things in life but managed to persevere. And I use those things, my faith and education on other people's journeys, and pushing myself physically as well, as fuel for me to keep going. And so I started sharing that part of my life. I think my first video on TikTok that's kind of like aligned with my purpose is the one about Lao Tzu's quote. I'm not sure if you saw that one.
Maybe in one of my FYP videos. In my FYP.
Yeah. So the video that I was pertaining to was my first mindset video. And I talked about in front of that mirror, actually.
Yeah,
in
your
the
popular
special
mirror.
mirror. I talked about how I was trying to impress one of my professors in college, one of my scary professors. So I was looking for material online that would match the said project that I could connect to it. And then I stumbled upon this quote from Lao Tzu. And this is the quote that I stumbled upon. So, Lao Tzu, a Chinese philosopher, once said, "Watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. And watch your character, it becomes your destiny." So, during that time in college, we had to create this sort of like media project on how media impacts your lives. And I guess I took a more philosophical approach to it since I've always been really into philosophy and psychology. So I connected that to my life, that quote to how I consume media. And so I've always been fascinated ever since about how media has had a positive and negative influence on how we perceive things in the world. And so in that video, my first mindset video that blew up, I talked about how I decided to only follow people who would inspire me or who would play a purpose in my life, because it's very difficult to constantly look at people's lives and people's social media without them really having any purpose in your life. So I started unfollowing celebrities that I would often compare myself to, or wouldn't really have much purpose. I still follow celebrities for sure, but they would have some sort of purpose or positive influence to me, and that's why I would follow them. But so I was more careful about the types of media that I consumed and the types of people that I surrounded myself with, because it all starts from our thoughts. And if I have control over these certain things, the people that I follow, the people that I surround myself with, then I must take that to my advantage. So I need to control it. And so in that video, the first mindset video, I concluded with the thought that what we consume, we eventually become. And I strongly believe this because, I myself can say that when I started nourishing my mind, body, and spirit intentionally, and with so much faith and belief that it will have a positive impact on my journey in this life, I did see things shift for me. And I think that played a big part in bringing me to where I am today, and also God, of course. So yeah.
Yeah. What I'm hearing from you is that you really focused on yourself. You really focused on not
Mhm.
just nurturing yourself, but strengthening your faith. Having that kind of mindset, learning, continuously learning. And I think it's also a good reminder that you said, you unfollowed people that you constantly compared yourself to. Because we cannot deny the fact that social media boosts our insecurities, 'di ba? And from there, when you're not secure with yourself, it can get into your head. And then it's gonna be hard for you to, stop comparing yourself. And like what you said,
Mhm.
what you consume, alam mo, parang with what you're saying nga, I'm really thinking right now, oh nga, itong mga fina-follow ko na hindi ko naman talaga gusto yung content nila. But they're
Mhm.
popular. 'Di ba? Hindi ko na sasabihin
Mhm.
kung sino, pero mga American na
Mhm.
you will say, "Wow, you're living the life." Yung mga ganyan. But
Mhm.
yeah, what I'm learning from you is really your wisdom is coming from your experiences in the past, but you used it in your advantage. You used it in your advantage in a way that you worked on yourself and now helping people as they work on themselves as well. And that became your purpose. That became your
Mhm.
purpose, for creating content. Because, yun nga, sabi mo nga, passionate ka naman talaga about philosophy, about psychology ever since, no? And now, it
Mm.
became your platform became a voice to support people and to inspire people through your words.
Thank you. Yeah. I feel very, very blessed then. I just really, aside from, shifting our mindset and controlling the content that we consume on social media and the energy that we get from other people that we surround ourselves with, one of the things that I think is a big part of my purpose as well is to spread kindness and love, because we really don't know people. And personally for me, I can attest to that, because during the lowest points in my life, wherein I basically, the feeling of what I felt is that there was this well, and a really really deep well, and I was at the bottom of that well. So I was this kid stuck in the bottom of the well, and I wanted to get out, and there's this like little patch of light that I want to get up to, but then the whatever was around me, around the sides of the well, was like full of grease. So it was really hard to get out. So when I was feeling that feeling, so when I was feeling that desperate, that sad, that's how I would that's how best I can describe it. So it's really like this awful desperate feeling, and you know better, and you have these blessings, but for some reason you're just stuck there. And if for the people who have never experienced that, it's very very hard to explain, but for the people who have experienced such sadness in their life and such desperation, you have to, yeah,
Yeah.
it's that's really the best way that I can describe it. And I've looked for other words to describe it, but that's really the best way I could describe it. And so I wanted to use my voice. I said, if my voice and my story and my being can have a positive impact in other people's lives just through sharing my vulnerability, just through sharing my knowledge, and just through using my voice, then I might as well use it. Then I guess it's a gift from God. And I guess it's a big part of my purpose. And so, in this temporary world that we're living in, I think that you and I are so blessed, Coach Yanni, because we know the gifts that we can give to other people through our being. And I think it's really that sense of purpose that also keeps us moving forward. And in this life, I think that's what we need to do for one another as fellow human beings. And for some reason, that's how I integrate the whole mind, body, and spirit thing. And that's really what I want to be all about. I would love to share tips for success, tips for confidence, and tips to shift your mindset. I would love to share fitness videos and how I lost all that weight when I gained like 30 to 40 pounds, how I lost that weight through jump rope. And that's also how I started TikTok. I was just workout videos. But I would also love to share, how I strengthened my faith, and how through that sense of desperation, how I rose above it, and how God played a big part in my life. And even though a lot of my, or maybe not a lot, but a few of my followers are for sure not part of any religion or a part of a different religion, even though I believe in Jesus and I believe in God, we all come from one source, and I want to take my stand on that. And I'm so grateful that even people who have different religions and different beliefs can still connect with me, and can still respect and find light in what I share, because I just want people to see love and to choose love, despite religion and practices, because we were created from love itself.
I
So
love what
yeah.
you're sharing. My gosh, parang I just ask one question and you answer everything na already. So I love what you I love your shares, no. Simply because you're talking about being healthy holistically. No, we're not just
Mm-hmm.
talking about here your physical body, which sabi mo nga how you started on TikTok, no, but actually most importantly, your soul, your faith, have a
Mm-hmm.
healthy mind, body, and soul. And I think that's what a lot of people need to realize also.
Mm-hmm.
Even me, no, when you were talking about your feeling of being in the deep well and you're at the
Mm-hmm.
bottom and you just want to get up, alam mo yon.
Yeah.
But what if maraming tao sa ilalim? 'Di ba?
Mm-hmm.
Na who wants to, help themselves and or someone else to help them, that would be your content. Like ako nga, yun nga, before, no, I felt that way also. Yung sabi ko, ako. Because, because I also felt that way
Mm-hmm.
before, na parang I feel like the world is against me. But what
Mm-hmm.
really helped me is my faith. And that's when I started to really focus on me. And that's when I realized, oh, there's so much more than, just working out. There's so much more
Mm-hmm.
than just your physical health. As
Mm-hmm.
much as you're taking care of your physical health, your mental, emotional, spiritual health are all important. And that when you've mastered that, or when you started to really work on that, then you become blissful. You enter the state of bliss. No, so I want to know, Yen, how did you realize that we need not only, kasi ako yun yung experience ko at that lowest point in my life, I'm like, there's nothing else I could do but to focus on me, and maybe perhaps when I focus on myself, I could get up that well. Maybe perhaps when I focus on myself, I could find a way to exit whatever hole I am in. But for you, how did you realize that we need not only a healthy mind and body, but also a healthy soul?
Mm-hmm. So I guess it also stems from one of my favorite Bible verses. I think it's probably my favorite Bible verse, and even if whoever is listening or watching, even if you're not religious, it still applies to you. So the verse is from the book of Colossians, chapter 3, verse 2. Set your minds on things above, not on earthly things. And I think I talked about this with a school one time. A school asked me about my relationship with God, and this is what I shared. That's my favorite Bible verse because it reminds me that this world is a temporary world. Life is fragile and everything will pass. So it's really this overarching big idea and fact that everything will pass away, except for this mystery that we live in. So we live in a mystery and we cannot explain everything in life no matter how hard we try. We will not be all knowing. We will not be almighty. We will not be the most powerful being in the world because the most powerful one is the one that created us. And we have different names for this source that we come from, but we have one source. So despite color, despite religion, practices, beliefs, everything that separates us from one another, we come from this one source, and there is a meaning to all of this. So it's my own personal belief that, and fact, that we live in a temporary world and everything will pass, that allowed me to pursue strengthening my faith even more. So I like to choose as much as I can to humble myself because I'm just a mere mortal like anybody else on this earth. And all I can really do is to do my best to strengthen my mind, body, and spirit. And I want to be very honest to everyone who's listening, and to you as well, and whoever's watching, since this will be on YouTube, um, that I myself am just figuring it out. And I'm so thankful to everyone who messages me and comments about how much of a positive impact I've been in their lives. But I just want to tell those people as well to maybe talk to God or talk to the source or even reflect in silence, and perhaps they will get answers, because in this life nobody has all of the answers. People say it comes from within, and I believe that God can work through us to find these answers and to find a sense of peace. And that's honestly what helps me keep going, is that understanding that we're all human beings on this world, in this reality, that one day will pass. But with everything we have right now, we can choose gratitude. So we can be grateful for everything we have right now. That's one of the things that I love sharing on my platform, is to choose gratitude and also to choose kindness, because we're all human beings who are suffering in our own ways, and we cannot see or understand other people's suffering, other people's pain. We don't know their own personal traumas in life, so we have to choose to be kind. And third off, I just want to tell people to choose love. Despite darkness, despite betrayal, which has happened to me, I experienced betrayal in a time of darkness, so that was that was a horrible
It's
mix.
like a worst that could happen.
I know. I was like, didn't you know I'm in a dark place? Why did you have to betray me like that? No, but it was horrible. So, despite all of that, you just kind of have to like push through with it and believe that there is a bigger picture and believe that the pain will pass. And eventually it does. Honestly, eventually the pain does pass, and then you get this clearer picture of what life is about, and then you focus on that joy. So, yeah.
I love what you're sharing, a lot about faith, a lot about how God or the source for others have helped you in your life, and it's now your message to the world, and how you contribute yourself to us human beings, right? Um, and I just also want to focus on what you said around gratitude. Of course, it's
Mm-hmm.
very, my gosh, I cannot even highlight how important it is to be in a space of gratitude. Um, if you want to enter the state of bliss, you have to be grateful for everything. Sabi mo nga, 'di ba? Not just on earthly things, 'di ba?
Mm-hmm.
And really strengthening when you're in a space of gratitude kasi you think that there's so much, you have so much already. You're living a very abundant life when you're in a space of gratitude. And it's just a mindset. It's totally a mindset,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like it's not about what you have or who you are with. It's actually your mind, who you are as a person. And a lot of that stems from your relationship with God, having a
Mm-hmm.
very healthy relationship with God. And let's talk about that. What does it mean for you to be truly healthy in all of these aspects, mind, body, and soul?
Mm-hmm. I think for me, being healthy and being happy, it's sort of connected, right? And personally, I think that can be accomplished personally for me through contentment. So I'll find contentment when I take care of myself, when I take care of my mind, body, and spirit, when I know truly within myself that to my human capacity, I'm doing all that I can to make the most out of the life that God has given me. So I don't want to use my life in vain. I don't want to have all of these things, this voice and everything that I've been through in my whole being, just kind of float around and then eventually fade away. I believe that every human being has a purpose in their life, and some people find their purpose earlier than others. And I'm so thankful to God that through the pain that I've experienced and the realizations that I've had, I was able to find my purpose pretty early, since I am relatively young. And I guess that's why I speak the way that I do. I feel like some people think I'm much older than I am,
Oh
but I
yeah,
am relatively
definitely.
young. Yeah, I am relatively young, but these experiences have shaped my mind, body, and spirit in more ways that I could have ever imagined a few years ago. And and so I really do believe that everybody has a purpose. And there's this also for the people who are listening, if you haven't found your purpose, that's completely okay. There's also this pressure for people to find their purpose because comparison is a thing, right? Comparison is a thief of joy. That some philosophers said that as well. So if you haven't found your purpose, that is completely okay. You have the rest of your life to figure it out. Some people find their purpose at 30, 40, 50, and they still end up living fulfilling lives. But personally for me, I feel like I am content when I try to nourish my mind, body, and spirit through prayer, through exercise, meditation, feeding my body with healthy food, and doing the best that I can to fulfill my purpose by sharing stories to people and teaching people about philosophy, about psychology, about how I shifted my mindset, about the depression that I experienced, about how to strengthen their faith in God and the bigger picture of life. And so that really is what helps me be healthy and happy as a person. So yeah.
Thank you for highlighting that purpose is not something that you need to rush to find. I think in the right time you will find your purpose, and it's a journey. My mentor would always say this. Purpose is a continuous journey. Like it's not a one day thing na, oh, I want to know my purpose today and then bam, here's my purpose. This is what I'll do for the rest of my life. No, it's going to be a journey for you to keep learning, not just learning but even evolving in your purpose, evolving your purpose in life. And yeah,
Mhm.
you mentioned about contentment, about nourishing your body, making the most out of the life that's given to us. No, but
Mhm.
for others who are listening, what would be your practical habits that you can suggest that for them to actually start also nourishing their whole well-being?
Mhm. Well, first off, I think it's really important for us to be aware that we all have different plans in life and we all have different schedules. But one strategic and basic thing that people can do is to establish a morning routine. I actually have a podcast episode about it. I think it was like my second one. And I was talking about the reason why I have a morning routine and the benefits of it. Of course, we will have days wherein we're super off tangent with our routines, but as much as possible, I I know that my routine helps me bounce back, and I know that having a good morning ritual helps me start my day off on a positive note. So first off, I actually when I wake up, I like to thank God. I mean, I could have not woken up, and so I'm like,
True.
well, I do a little prayer, but kind of like, hey, God, thank you. I'm alive and I have another chance to make the most of this life, even though I don't know exactly what's going to happen to me, if I'll have a fulfilling day, but I hope it's a fulfilling day. And I hope whatever I do today brings me closer to fulfillment, brings me closer to
Gratitude.
my goal. So at first, it's definitely gratitude that I woke up because some people don't get to wake up. And then I fix my bed. So I try to do this as much as I can before checking my phone. So I'm like, okay, I gotta do there was this TED talk about this guy from the military who talked about, when you accomplish that one thing, it's a series of successful events. So then you accomplish other tasks in your day. And that's the easiest thing to do. So I like to fix my bed, and then everything else. And I like to plan out my day, and that really, really helps with my entire journey when I have it planned. And it's not even in a very specific way. Just like have things jotted down on a piece of paper so that you could check if you are in line with whatever you have to do with that day. So yeah,
Yeah.
morning routine. That's one thing.
Morning routine actually is a great habit. I didn't know you were gonna talk about it. No, I didn't see it because you have a
Mm-hmm.
lot of episodes already on your podcast. Let me get to
Yeah.
that episode. So that's the second episode, right?
Uh huh.
Yeah. Morning routine. I'm also a big believer of that. Even if you wake up in the afternoon, like there are days, of course, you sleep
Hmm.
in, you can still do your
Yeah.
routine, and that will help you set up your day rightly. No, you mentioned about fixing your bed, 'di ba? That's true eh.
Hmm.
When you come back after a long day of working, even if we're all just at home, when you come back, you realize, oh, I accomplished something for the day. And yeah, it sets your
Hmm.
day up that the moment you accomplish something, continuous na yun for the day. So you have to really start your
Hmm.
day right. I love that you're sharing that morning routine and creating habits for yourself. Even even sa gabi, you have your night routine also, right? So, but it's very different if you have like a morning routine talaga. And mentioning also gratitude prayer, you have your meditation. I love it. Okay. I just
Thank
want
you.
aside from morning routine, what are other like self-care practices wherein they can actually, feel more healthy holistically?
Well, guys, you can listen to podcasts such as Coach Yanni
Yes.
Moya's and mine, right?
Yeah,
I mean, we
journey
do
with
help nourish you
Julienne.
guys. Yeah, I mean, I personally love learning. So I forgot who said this, but I am not a teacher. I am a student of life.
Student
Might
of
be
life.
Socrates.
Right,
Yes,
right.
so I completely agree with that. Yes, we may be teaching people things that would help them, but overall, I still consider myself as a student, and there's so much to learn from people. And also, when I do these podcast guestings, I always learn something new, and I always find something that I get inspired by and that I use as fuel for me to keep going as well. Even though I share it to others, it's also fuel for me to be inspired. So I think, guys, if you are looking to take care of yourself holistically, mind, body, and spirit, it's to consume content, whether it's videos, podcasts, recordings, podcasts rather, or reading books or reading about philosophy, praying, meditation. If you're Christian, read the Bible. If you're not, then just find philosophers who have these beautiful learnings about life. And there are philosophers who teach about compassion and kindness and love and generosity and things that are in line with some religions as well. And there's just so much that we can learn from humanity that can help us keep going. We just have to look for it, and we just need to make that conscious decision to want to be better. And I think that's the first step, actually, to to be healthier and happier, mind, body, and spirit, is to decide that you want to. And then everything else will eventually follow.
I love it. So decide that you want to say yes to yourself. Know the purpose of why you're doing what you're doing. And then the how tos will follow. Because the how tos for us
Mm-hmm.
could be different, eh? But I think the end goal here is to really be in a space of continuous learning. Because the moment you
Mm-hmm.
stop learning, you stop living. Have you heard that?
Mm-hmm.
This the moment you stop growing or
Yeah.
learning, you stop living, right? So it should be
Mm-hmm.
continuous learning for all of us, having that conscious effort to choose, to learn something new, to consume on social, even on social media, on sabi mo nga, podcasts, value adding content, and
Mm-hmm.
that is a practice of self-care. Guys, hindi lang po skincare ang pag-practice ng self-care, or even just boundaries, not just that. What I'm learning today is that when you're choosing to learn, when you're choosing to continuously evolve and grow yourself, that's also a way of self-care, right? I love our conversation, Yen, and I'm learning a lot about um nourishing, taking care of myself even better than the usual habits that we have. Even, and actually, I like how very simple they are, right? It's not even
Mm-hmm.
complicated. Like, you're just telling us to fix our bed, telling us to meditate, to talk to God, to journal, to list down whatever you do. It's the normal things that we do every day, or sometimes we miss
Mm-hmm.
we miss out on. But
Yeah.
actually, it's a form of really taking care of ourselves. And we live
Mm-hmm.
in a very busy life, no? You and I'm sure, kanina we were talking about it, how busy life is, no, for us, for the both of us. And sometimes we
Yeah.
really fail to connect with our spirit or our soul. No, what advice can you give to those people listening, who wanted to start connecting more to their soul?
That reminded me of something in my TikTok drafts I don't think I've ever posted. I made a video about it, but I never there's like a bunch of drafts in my TikTok folder that I have
Same.
never posted. Right? And I feel like they would actually get views, but I'm not sure why I haven't posted them. I just keep making new ones. But I talked about productivity. And I think this might help someone who's listening. But, as human beings, especially in the society that we live in, there's this sort of like beautiful thing, right, about being productive because we always want to be doing something that deems us to be closer to success. And I think that's a good thing. It's definitely good to have goals and ambition. But I think a lot of us sometimes forget the importance of taking breaks and how breaks can also be considered as something productive. And I think that in the breaks that we take, where we can practice self care, we can choose to strengthen our faith, and we can do these little habits that bring us closer to contentment, bring us closer to fulfillment. That can actually be so beneficial for our spirit. And so we can use that time and we can view that time to take care of ourselves, mind, body, and spirit as productive. So I also just want to share that, for the people who feel like they're not doing enough and they always want to be doing something, they want to be at the top, they want to be successful. Where is my money? Where is my fame? Where is my beauty, my success, etc.? To simply pause and be aware of the present moment. And that's something that prayer has taught me as well. My faith has taught me this. The sadness that I experienced, the pain that I experienced, so many human experiences have taught me that all we have is the present moment. And we just need to be grateful for it. We just need to thank God that we're breathing right now, that we have our skin intact on our body, we have two eyes to see, we can breathe properly, 2 feet to walk on, and then you think about it, and like a few villages away from here, there's going to be someone who has no leg. There's going to be someone who has no eyes to see, no house to live in, no sense of belonging in this world. And so we need to choose to be grateful. And I think that's really one of the main messages that I want to impart to everyone who's listening. It's the sense of gratitude that can also strengthen our faith and help us be in touch with our spirit.
Yeah, that's food for your soul, gratitude,
Mm-hmm.
right? And being present. I love you're mentioning a lot about being present, being at the moment, and being in gratitude for whatever you have at that certain time. And you were telling us about gratitude, and specifically, 'di ba, whatever's functioning in our body, that we tend to forget to be thankful because we're too, alam mo yun, busy. Kaya ko tong gawin, I'll be very productive. But sometimes, it's as simple as me, no? For example, you're writing, parang, uy, thank you, may kamay ako. 'Di ba? Uy, thank you, I have sometimes, it's as simple as, thank you, may wifi kami to do all of these things. Totoo, 'di ba? May
Mm-hmm.
ilaw kami. May hangin kami. You have the energy, even the energy, no? And
Mm-hmm.
I want to also highlight what you said around rest is productive. Because indeed, productivity is not just you moving. It can also be about you resting, taking a break, really prioritizing yourself, and that's how you become more connected to your soul. Also, I just want to highlight yung taking breaks, no? What I do also, aside from taking breaks, during the day when I take a break, I list down, I have a coda file where I list down all my wins,
Oh wow.
so
Mm-hmm.
that at the end of the week, when I feel like, because sometimes I'm not sure if ganito ka, like, at the end of the week, parang feeling ko wala naman ako nagawa. Parang social media lang ako.
Uh-uh.
Lalo na if you're
Uh-uh.
on TikTok a lot, 'di ba? If you're on TikTok posting,
Mm-mm.
editing, all of these things, you think or you feel like, parang wala naman akong nagawa. I'm not productive this week. But my practice there is whenever I take breaks, kunwari kanina before we started, I listed down what my wins are. Yung feeling ko, kahit small wins lang, na feeling ko nagawa ko for the day. And then at the end of the week, I look back at my wins instead of looking at my to-do list. Di ba, you look at your to-do list and you feel like, parang hindi nauubos. Parang hindi nauubos. Tapos
Mm-hmm.
parang, bakit ganon, di ba? But you can actually focus on looking at your wins. Writing down things that you're grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the week, you'll check, parang may weekly wins ako
Mm-hmm.
eh. And then parang masabi mo, ang dami ko palang nagawa this week. Kahit na ang haba pa nung productivity list ko, nung to-do list ko. No, and it's really listening to yourself,
Mm-hmm.
listening, making time, making that quiet time to listen to what yourself wants, 'di ba?
Mm-hmm.
And you were mentioning a lot about your faith. How do you think we can be more connected with ourselves and with God? Like
Oh
for a
yeah.
person like me, I'm not really that religious.
Mm-hmm.
What are practices or ways for us to be more connected with God?
Yeah. Well, it also boils down to what I mentioned earlier. So it's really the content that we consume and the time that we have for ourselves. In my content on TikTok and on Instagram and the podcast, I like to remind people that it's not necessarily needed. It's not needed to have strict protocols in terms of strengthening our faith because I feel like that sort of repels some people to strengthen their faith if they feel like they have to do it, if that's the only way. So, it's all in line as well with the gratitude mindset. It's not really what we have to do, it's what we get to do. So we have this opportunity as we're alive to still choose to be good and be kind to people. And I think doing acts of service to others also is an act of service to God. It's all connected. So another thing that this conversation reminded me of is that I want to use my life to be of service to others and to God. So that's in line with my purpose as well. And by helping others, by being kind, I have this strong feeling that the creator is happy about that. You know, that even through you and me, Annie, like with the words that we're sharing to people and with our intention to help people and to guide people into becoming who they believe they're meant to be, that is already an act of service to others and an act of service to God. Because, it doesn't necessarily have to be strict prayers, especially to the people who are listening who aren't religious and, by the textbook religious. There are so many little ways that we can add value to other people's lives and to be of service to God. And eventually, that love and gratitude always reciprocates back to us. There's this sense of fulfillment that it really happens within your soul. I think personally for me, it's not just like in my head. It's like I feel the joy and gratitude in my soul. And it's sort of like this cycle. When I feel that sense of fulfillment and I feel like I'm on the right path in terms of helping others, then it pushes me to do more. And so, yeah.
I love it. I love it. And the very practical tips, no? Hindi ka naman nagsabi na, okay, strictly you have to do this for you to be connected to God
Mm-hmm.
more, no? You're just
Mm-hmm.
speaking about your contribution to the world. How you
Mm-hmm.
being of service to others can actually be you connecting more to God, connecting more to the
Mm-hmm.
source, to the universe, or whoever you believe in. And having that gratitude mindset of really I think if you have the contentment, if you're in a space of gratitude, God will bless you more. I always say the attitude of gratitude, because God will give you more, or the universe will give you more if they feel you're very grateful. So thank you for highlighting that and
Yeah.
reminding that. Sige.
Yeah, thank you as well. No, I just want to thank you because this is such a beautiful conversation. And, the questions that you asked are really good. I mean, like, I was able to tap into the parts of my mind that, like, refreshed it again. And, it honestly helped remind me as well. And I love conversations like this, especially with you. I mean, I feel like there's this beautiful connection and we can just get so much value from this friendship for each other. And it's so important for us as content creators and as speakers and as human beings to surround ourselves with people like one another who can serve as fuel for us to keep going. So thank you so much.
Right. Thank you, Yen. And I think this guesting is actually you contributing to the world, to my listeners, to my many listeners.
Oh,
Thank you to all my listeners talaga,
thank
no?
you.
Uh, because this is your contribution. You're speaking the word of God. You're speaking things that have helped you before. You're sharing it to everyone. And that's you being of service to us. Even me, I'm learning
Oh,
so
thank you
much
so
today.
much.
I'm learning so much today. I
Oh,
love your voice. I love what you're talking about. I love your message to the world. And I just want to know, okay, how do you envision Yen in the future? Or what's next for Yen?
hmm. Well,
Holistically,
as much as I would,
holistically, yeah, like
mhm.
healthy and in terms of your maybe your content even.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess to give a little bit of what might be ahead of me. I really envision myself doing more of what I'm doing right now. So basically, I feel really grateful and in touch with the message that I'm trying to share to people and with the content that I'm trying to create and with the work that I'm doing with this life. I hope so that in the future it is more amplified and it reaches more and more people because I really feel strongly about it and I really feel like this is my mission as a disciple of God, as a fellow human being trying to contribute something good to society, as your friend, as just another person as well who's just trying to encourage other people to keep going because I know how hard it is to simply make that conscious decision to just keep going, you know? And to kind of answer that question in a broader sense, you know, I really don't know exactly what's going to be up ahead of me. I think I'll go back to that Bible verse, set your minds on things above, not on earthly things, and how that Bible verse kind of reinforces my belief that this is a temporary world and that we live in a mystery. So I can only be grateful for the present moment. And as much as I would love to answer, and maybe that would be my answer, I would love to be like CNN journalist, newscaster, Christian Amanpour. That's like my dad's little dream for me. And that's my little
Announce it
dream.
to the
That's a big
world.
dream. Yeah, let us pray for this
Baka
to
naman.
manifest. No, but yeah, baka naman po, CNN, baka naman.
Parinig lang kami.
No,
Parinig lang sa universe.
mm, Ayun, so I would love to be able to amplify my message and my being through a bigger platform. I don't know if I'm gonna be like Christian Amanpour, that would be amazing. But I just want to focus on the present moment and take it day by day. So yeah, I'm just taking it day by day, like all of y'all.
The most important is to stay present at the moment and enjoy living currently,
Yeah,
no?
yeah.
So that you don't become too anxious of what's gonna happen in life. You don't become too
Mm-mm.
excited about life, but actually just staying in the moment and enjoying the moment every single time.
Yes.
And this has been a great conversation. Lagpas na tayo sa time, no? And as much as I want to talk more about this with you, I guess we have to end here and have another episode in the future to talk
Mm-hmm.
more about it. Go ahead, Yen. Do
Yeah.
you want to give a few last message to our listeners?
Well, I just hope that you guys keep going. And I know how hard that this life can be and how confusing everything is. And that's what I like to share in my content on TikTok, Instagram, my podcast. As weird as it sounds, I feel you. Like it's hard, and you might think that with everything that I'm saying, that I have every single piece of my life put together, but I'm just a fellow human being like you. And I'm just privileged enough and blessed enough to have this voice and that you are willing to listen to my voice. So thank you for your presence, for being in this podcast with Coach Yanni. And thank you, Yanni, for being my friend. I really feel connected with you. And I have this like really good feeling that this connection and this friendship is like long term. When you meet people, you kind of get
Yeah.
that vibe that this is a long term friendship. I
Oh
feel
my
that.
gosh. So funny. I just want to
Diba?
share before we end that when you were disconnected kanina, when you were reconnecting pala, I told that to my
Mm-mm.
intern, I just know we're gonna connect. I just know it. And now that you're saying it, parang
Yeah.
it validates my intuition. It validates my intuition. And
Mm-hmm.
I guess I just want to add to the last message that you said because I remember and I went back to my Twitter because I tweeted that a few days ago that no, I haven't figured out my entire life. I just choose to be present in every moment by staying grateful for everything in front of me. So if people are thinking, wow, galing naman nila na figure out na nila yung life nila, yung purpose nila in life. No, guys, it's a continuous journey for, just like you, we're in a
Mm-hmm.
continuous journey of life. But we choose to be
Mm-hmm.
grateful and be present in the moment to enjoy whatever is in front of us. So yeah, keep
Yeah.
being grateful, keep your faith in God and or whoever your source is. And yeah, stay grateful and stay happy. That's a beautiful message. Go ahead, Julian or Yen, invite people to your platforms.
Yeah, I really hope that you guys could listen to my podcast. So my podcast is called Journey with Julienne on Spotify. And I post regularly on TikTok. So that's just Julienne Ipapo and the same username for Instagram as well. I'm pretty active on there. And I guess if you want, I'm going to be active on Facebook too. And yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to connect with Coach Yanni. So you'll probably see our faces together, especially after the pandemic.
Yeah, for sure we'll be BFFs after this. So yeah, thank you guys.
We're
Make
already
sure to
kapitbahays.
correct. One tumbling and one split away. Nandun ako kila Yen. Diba? So, yeah. Make sure to follow her on TikTok kasi you learn so much as in pwede nyo na i-binge watch. Also, in her podcast, I listened to some of the episodes and my gosh, my mind is blown away as you've heard from today's episode. So, make sure to follow her on Spotify, on Apple Podcast, and listen to her podcast. Actually, mag-guest ako after nito. We'll record naman her podcast, diba?
Mm-mm.
So make sure to listen to
Yeah.
that. Yeah, and hopefully we get to see her again here on the podcast. Thank you so much and see you guys on the next episode.
Thank you.
Bye!
Once again, this is Coach Yani Moya reminding you to breathe and live your best life every day. Because remember, when you tap into your state of bliss, you unlock limitless possibilities. If you enjoyed this episode, do follow and subscribe for weekly content. You can also follow me on my socials at Coach Yani Moya on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. See you next week!